This church in Sarria is where I got my official credential as a pilgrim, so it seemed like the perfect place to take my first steps on the pilgrimage. The way, as we said, is going to be very, very clearly marked. Back in the 70s, the pilgrim population had really gotten down to a trickle. A priest took it upon himself to grab a bucket of yellow paint and a brush, walk the entire Camino himself, and putting these flechas amarillas, these yellow arrows, pointing the way all the way to Compostela. His plan really, really worked. And these days, 200,000 pilgrims a year hit the Camino.
And most of them start here in Sarria. Catholic pilgrimage purists will tell you the Camino actually begins on the French side of the Pyrenees. But the Church awards an official certificate of completion to any pilgrim who finishes the last 100 kilometers of that route. And that just happens to be the distance from Sarria to Santiago. Sarria is not very big, so it doesn't take long for the arrows to lead you out of town. The first thing that struck me was the silence. There are other pilgrims on the road, but there's enough space to feel like this part of the Camino is your own. Across a little stream just a kilometer outside of town, and I can't stop smiling. I'm actually doing it. It's a special feeling pilgrims get when they know they're walking for a purpose. But not everybody's walking. On today's section, I must have seen 50 cyclists. They use the Buen Camino greeting almost as a warning.
Buen Camino.
Buen Camino!
To keep to one side. August is the high season for the Camino, so it's not always as private as you'd like. There are times when you feel like you're in an endless line for a ride you can't quite see. I love hearing the conversations, though. They're mostly in Spanish. The Camino is really quite the thing to do for Spaniards. But so many other countries are represented too. Even though we don't share a language, we share a goal and we share a struggle. On the Camino, you're all on the same team. 5 kilometers into today's walk, a light Seattle-type rain begins to fall. Galicia, as this region is called, has very similar weather to the Northwest, but it stops no one. Everyone I see came prepared. After pulling on backpack covers and slipping into jackets, it's back to walking and back to being alone with your thoughts. And then, a not-so-gentle reminder that you've never strayed too far from the non-pilgrim world. The Camino crosses major highways a few times, so you can't let your mind wander too far. Here, the countryside reminds me of Ireland. It rains about the same amount, and farmers use whatever they find to mark off boundaries. Before you know it, you've gone half the day's walk, and it's time for a break. Small villages usually have a little cafe to give you time to stretch, grab a quick snack, and energize for the day's final push. From about a kilometer away, there's our stopping point, Porto Marín, just across the bridge. And just as I was taking this shot of the bridge, the heavens let loose.
So after 22 kilometers of hard walking and light drizzle, the Camino said, not so fast. Look what we've got waiting for us to get into Porto Marín. Yeah, it doesn't rain so mainly on the plain here, does it?
Well, that was a few hours ago. I'm dry now, but I am telling you what, I couldn't have been wetter if I was underwater. Luckily, our hotel has a laundry service, so although sopping wet clothes are ready for tomorrow's hike, I can only hope I am too. Just check the weather forecast for Galicia. It's calling for more rain. Do me a favor, think dry thoughts for me. Until then, buen camino.